Welcome to the Edge Insider Podcast.
Welcome back to the Edge Insider Podcast. I'm your host, Kellyanne Roberts, and I'm joined by Jarryn Skeete and Dez Lee of the Edge. How does it feel to be back in Newfoundland? I mean, 2 years now. Here you are.
Yeah, it's been great to be back, different field, different roles, but it's great to be back.
It's been a lot of fun. I'm excited to be back, and I'm happy that they got me and Dez back to try to get this championship.
Back here, at least you know each other, not a whole lot of familiar faces on the roster. What was it like knowing that that roster had kind of trimmed down a little bit when you were getting back here?
I was kind of like shocked that, a lot of guys didn't return, but, I guess they had a plan in mind, what they wanted to do as far as bringing certain guys back, and they made it happen. I'm just happy they brought myself and Skeete back, to try, like you said, to try to win a championship. But it was kind of shocking, though, to see.
Knowing that obviously the goal at the end of the day is a championship. I mean, personally, Skeete, what is the goal for you?
I would just say get better every day and win the championship in the league, in my own league, the Canadian League.
Coming back to St. John's, having done a year here, it was the inaugural season, a great run as it was. Getting a little bit off the court here, what was the response like from the city knowing you were returning?
I think a lot of the fans were pretty happy to see me and Dez come back. Obviously, there were some guys they wanted back too, but I think the fact that they brought me and Dez back, in the beginning we didn't play as much, and then playing a lot at the end, we kind of earned, I'm not sure if you'd say the fans respect, but they kind of recognize us more. So bringing us coming back, I know they seem to be pretty excited.
Bringing out the new guys here out on the town, Water Street, George Street, all those, I guess, helping them get familiarized. What was that like, Des?
Well, actually, we haven't really been down there to show the guys really. We've been so, on the go. We've been gone for most of the season, so we really haven't had time to actually show them Water Street or George Street. But like I said, they getting used to it. The weather is real different. That's mostly what they've been talking about. And we try to warn them about it. So that really.
It's not just them talking about the weather, everybody. It's just a daily conversation here. That's a big part of the season too, though, like you mentioned, is the schedule. It's a little up and down. I mean, you guys are on an extended break here at home. The first one really of not just 2019, but of the season in general. What is it like to be constantly on the road and then home, but then back on the road?
I can say we've been kind of like looking forward to coming home since we've been on the road most of the season. It's been like a grind. And the last road trip was like unbelievable. Like it was tough. We had 6 games in like 9 days or something like that. And most of the time we was traveling on the bus. So and like just to get home and be in our own beds and getting comfortable and just being somewhere familiar, and it was cool. You know what I mean, to be back home.
Being out on the road so much, traveling by bus and by plane and everything, does that help a team grow closer together than if they'd be home all the time?
Yeah, that's funny. I was actually going to say that. It sucks being on the road, but I think because we have such a new group of guys, our schedule actually fit our team, because now as soon as we got back, like Des was saying, everybody was so happy to be back, and our bond after that road trip just seemed so much closer. So I definitely think it worked in our favor.
Is that part of the reason that you guys went on such a roll there at the beginning of 2019?
Yeah, because I guess you could say, tough conditions, bus trips, planes, like 7-hour rides, and all the guys are kind of, you're going through it together. So it's almost like you're really brothers and going through war. So we got it rolling.
In terms of being like brothers, does that mean, I guess, few family feuds here and there? I know I have a younger brother and he can annoy me so much that at times I'm just like, you got to get in a different room.
Actually, no, we don't have those problems. Everybody get along well. So it's like we can't remember. We don't argue at all, actually.
No, really, yeah. I would say there's no one that really gets into it that I know of. Me and you are pretty cool, so I can't think of anyone that really. Maybe the rookies, we make fun of them, just joking around, but nothing serious.
It's not serious at all.
You guys have been through that already here, so I guess nothing like giving it back a little bit then.
Yeah.
Of course, everyone's a rookie at one point in time, right?
The worst is the carrying the backpacks, the girl backpacks. That's it. Nothing too crazy.
That's nothing really then. in terms of getting back, I guess, on track a bit here, now at home, you've got this long break. What are some things you guys will be doing, I guess, with this time off?
I would say practicing, getting dudes who are banged up and injured back to 100%, staying in shape, staying sharp, getting the plays down, and just helping prepare to keep building that cushion and keeping us in first place.
I'm going to touch on these last two games here a little bit. I know ending a bit on a sour note in terms of that second game with London, but that first game, it seemed like you guys were really rolling. Things were really moving for you guys. And very much in the second game, too, kind of fell off a little bit there at the end. I guess, can you talk to that and what happened this past weekend?
They got lucky in the second game. That's what I think.
Yeah, lucky. They really got lucky.
Guessing that won't happen again then.
I don't think so.
It ain't gonna happen again. It won't happen again. Basketball gods was on their side.
I guess you need to give them one once in a while.
Nah, they just got lucky.
They just got lucky.
They really just got lucky.
Yeah.
London's at that. There's always that rivalry, I guess, that's stemming over from last year. Coach Doug Plum, having previously coached them, he's now in a head coaching role here. What was that like coming into the season, knowing that the head coach had moved?
I would say for me in college, I had 3 coaches in 4 years, so it's not really anything new to me. Doug was an assistant, and we got to know him very well because we were here from the beginning. So I already know how Doug is, so I wasn't too surprised. It wasn't too much of a tough transition for me.
Yeah, the transition was easy. It was easy because I knew what to expect from Doug, and I knew how he would act in certain situations. You know what I mean? So it was easy.
You've got quite a roster here, quite a lot of depth, and then some rookies, like you mentioned. Having a guy like Glenn Davis on the team, I guess, how does that translate onto the court and into the dressing room? A lot of people thinking he could have been like a prima donna, but it sounds like that's the complete opposite of Glenn Davis.
You know what? That was a shocking thing to me too, to see a guy like that of his caliber to come in and actually blend in and fit in with us, and not once made us feel like he was above us or whatever. Just the way how he controlled the room, and he's funny acting guy, sense of humor. And he's here. He actually on the road. What I'm saying, he expressed it himself to us that he was with us. He got a little emotional, and right there, that touched a lot of guys. What I'm saying, it was like, yo, he's really here. What I'm saying, he's here. He's trying to help us, and he want to see us, do great things.
I guess that obviously wasn't the mindset when you first heard that he was coming to St. John's then.
No, I think a lot of us, our house was like, there's no way he's coming. Too, if he does come here, there's no way he's gonna take it serious. So to get him and to meet him and see how he's turned out is pretty impressive, and I'm happy we got him.
What has that done for your individual game?
I guess you could just say take a step back and learn from someone who has obviously done more than most of us, and then also see that like just because he's done more than us, he still treats us like Des was saying as brothers, and it's not like he's talking down on us. So that's really it.
Well, he helped me tremendous. You know what I mean? As far as him being here and, just words of encouragement and stuff like that, and when to move, where to move, and where you should be at on the floor. And like I said, he's an NBA champion, and he's been around great players, so you'll want to listen to someone like that.
Yes, it does a lot, I guess, going against other teams too. I guess they're a little bit taken aback when they see that an NBA champion is playing in the NBL.
Yeah, I would say they're taken back, but from most teams, the last couple of games, as soon as they see him, they want to go off. Like they'll score a basket and look right at him. So as much as it maybe intimidates them, I feel like every team has their best game versus us partly because of him.
I guess that only elevates your game then as well.
Lately, yeah, the record shows.
You have to.
Is there anything, I guess, after an inaugural season like it was a tough one at the end of the day, but a grind, and you guys proved that basketball can stay here in St. John's and it can work, and that's clearly what's happened here this weekend. 6,000 fans on Saturday. What's it like to have them behind you?
Well, like I said, that's great to have a fan base and supporting cats like that they come out and support us, 6,000 people, and it's some arenas we go to, and it don't even be probably 60 people there. And for us to have our fan base to be there to support us like that, that's huge for us. It's huge.
Yeah, I think it means everything, especially because, like we said, this whole interview, the team is different. Only two of us came back, so to see them still supporting us and showing us the same love, it means a lot. And it's a lot easier when there's 6,000 people in there cheering for you and just wanting you to win.
The Edge Insider Podcast. We'll be right back.
Your St. John's Edge are back in action January 29th and 31st, taking on the Halifax Hurricanes. Catch your favorite Edge players at Mile 1 Center as the team looks to hold on to the top spot in their division. Both games are student nights. Present a student ID at the box office and receive a discounted ticket price. To get your tickets now, visit the Mile 1 Center box office by calling 576-7657 or online at mile1center.com.
Welcome back to the Edge Insider Podcast.
Briefly touched on at the beginning, you guys being the only two, and Carl coming back to this team, and so obviously a lot of new guys coming in, but new guys to the league as well. You guys are now the vets on this team. What's that role look like?
It's different, because being in the back seat last year, and you're not having to say much, but just like absorb a lot and take a lot in. But now it's like you have to dish a lot out and reach out to other players. And like like Nick is being the probably the youngest one on the team right now. He's the only rookie actually, and just trying to keep him uplifted. You know what I mean? Because like he's probably the best one of the best shooters, if not the best shooter on the team. And when he comes in the game, man, it's quick 9 points that fast. So he's been impressive, and we just try to keep him focused and let him know like everything's gonna be all right when things not going his way. So the minutes or whatever the case may be.
Jarryn, that's a shooting role. You know that role pretty well there, I guess. Seeing him come in and excel like that, I guess, that must make you feel pretty good in terms of being a vet and helping out a rookie coming in.
Yeah, it's always good to see one of my teammates do well. He lives in my house, so I've gotten really close with him. I've just told him just to enjoy the highs and lows of the season and just stay, even kill, whatever they call it, and stay aggressive. Every time he comes in the game like this, said he changed it right away with his height and he can shoot. I also think Mo and Junior have done a really good job adjusting, because I know last year with our team changing so much, there were so many different styles of play. Like often we played through Hinkle or through Dez or Alex, or when we had Ryan. So now this year we're kind of more of a guard-based team, and I think Junior and Mo have done a really good job of setting the tone and just bringing it every day and getting our team rolling. Especially on the road, we started off 1-5, and then one game it just clicked and we kind of found our identity. So those three guys have really done a good job.
Halifax down 24 points.
Halifax, that one can be a bit of a sore spot too. December, the only two losses in December were to Halifax, but they're coming into town here. I'm expecting they're not going to get lucky. What's the tempo coming into that?
They're a really physical team. They got a bunch of bigger dudes. They try to go inside and try to bully you. So it's gonna match their intensity and just show them how we get down on the rock.
When you see how far you've come already this season, Des, like you mentioned, 1-5 to start, but now going on this roll here and the way that the team has just come together, I guess the expectations through the season just continue to escalate as well.
Yes, I mean all we can do is get better. I mean, because I feel like we've been to the worst spot, so only thing can just get better, right? So we just attack practice like how we normally attack practice and go out there and execute, and I'm pretty sure we'll win the game. We not beat ourselves.
What's the biggest difference from last season to this season, not just in terms of the roster, but I guess overall?
Oh, that's a good question. I gotta think deeply. It's hard to say because it's so many things have changed, like coaching, jerseys. That's actually kind of a big part of it. We look better.
Let's talk to that a little bit then, and we'll come back. The look. I mean, with basketball, it's something completely different. It's something players identify with and they separate themselves with. How does that change your game?
I don't think it changes your game. I just think like if you feel good and like you like look clean, like you just come to the game just feeling good about yourself. So I don't think it's gonna make you hit like it's not gonna make you do something you can't already do, but you just have a better vibe coming into the game. That's just I know for me it probably does too.
You've switched up your look a little bit this year, not seen as much of the headband. What was with that?
Oh, I just just spur of the moment kind of thing.
We're seeing guys out there. The shoes now, it's also the big thing. Carl's got some that have been custom tweaked, and then a few guys coming in with some pretty different, colorful pairs. What's the style? What are you guys leaning towards?
Um, I mean, the shoes is like it's just an impression, of yourself. You know what I mean? Really, it's all types. I mean, we all have our own style.
We're more for comfortable.
Yeah,
We don't really
it's
go
whatever.
crazy
Yeah,
with the styles.
yeah. Like,
I'm
'cause
more if it's comfortable, I'm straight.
yeah, I'm wearing the same shoes from last year. I'm kind of like, if I'm playing well, I'm gonna stick with these until I have a. So that's how I look at it, superstitious type thing.
Is that your superstition then? Is your shoes?
Yeah, shoes, whatever I had on that game that I have a great game, I'm gonna wear it again. I'm gonna keep wearing it until I feel like I gotta switch it up.
That or someone tells you it's time to wash something?
No, I mean they get washed, but I'm not. I'm gonna keep wearing the same thing. Same thing.
I think the biggest change, like you're asking earlier, is the expectation to win the championship. Because last year, I don't think they came in thinking win the championship, but then when they saw we could be one bunch of games and it was going well, it was like, oh, we might win. This year, it's like championship. That's the vibe.
We were told, like, I think one of the first questions we asked this year, what's the expectation? Last year, obviously, it was to get off the ground, make people aware of what basketball looks like in St. John's. This year, all I've heard is championship.
Yeah, last year win some games, made the playoffs. This year made the playoffs last year, and it was like okay, maybe we can get the championship. But this year it's kind of like a championship or bust.
It's been that from the beginning.
I guess, is that something that drives you a bit harder than in practice and everything? Is that what's making you maybe try some things that you wouldn't normally do? You're trying to just elevate your game even that much more?
Not necessarily for me. I think it just keeps us focused and knowing the bigger picture at the end of the day. So if we want to win a championship, that means one day you might not play well, one day you might play well, and one day you might not play at all. But it's about the team winning and getting. When you're all up there holding the banner up or got your rings, it feels much better than if I had 40 points and Des had 50, but we didn't win the ring. So that's what it's really about.
Yeah, like I always say, I always tell the guys, just do your job. Just do your job, and everything will come in place.
Some nights, I guess that job is being the team's biggest cheerleader. What are those nights like? Is it a bit tougher in that regards, knowing that someone else is clicking and so the floor is theirs tonight, and you kind of got a cheer on the side?
I mean, for me, like I'm a fan of basketball, period. So if it's either Skeete making shots, call anybody making shots, I'm happy because I'm a fan of basketball. I like seeing the basketball go in the rim. So you know what I mean. So being a cheerleader is always part of the game or whatever, or being a fan because I'm a fan of the game.
I love it. I know last couple games I haven't played too much, but I come to the game ready to cheer my teammates on and just try to at the same time, I know it's a game going on, but entertain the crowd and keep them into it because there's more to it than the 5 guys on the court. The bench is also, be energetic and just keep them positive because sometimes they come off the bench and they're looking kind of down, and it's not as bad as they think out there. You gotta have fun and it's a game. So, yeah, bench them out.
We've seen it be effective. We've seen guys come in and momentum just completely shift in a game. Maybe not hitting the last few baskets, but then things completely turn around. Is that where that comes from then?
Yeah, just I feel like if you're on the bench cheering for your teammates, you're more into the game. So if you do get subbed in, you're ready to go instead of you're sitting there like, when my time gonna come? You're not focused, and then you get subbed in, and the game goes the other way instead of impacting it in a positive way.
Is that also what makes this team so much closer than, I guess, other teams? Is not being afraid to sit on the side and say, you know what, not my game today. This is somebody else's, and I'm going to encourage that.
Yeah, for one, I mean, we genuinely like each other. You know what I mean? And like we always talk about that too. Like this, it's like a college feel. Like we really care about each other. Not just saying that but we really do hang out with each other, and we care for each other. So one person down, we all down. One person up, we all up.
What does that look like away from the court then? What does this family look like?
You go to our house right now, everyone's sitting on the couch watching Animal Planet or NBA highlights or playing 2K or something like that.
Yeah, ordering pizza and stuff. We just be chilling. We all kick it, like really kick it with each other.
Is that when you leave then in the summer, when that time comes around, is that going to be a little hard this year?
That part is tough to talk about because last year me and Dez are still so close with all the other guys. So I won't go into detail, but you hang out with the dudes you're still cool with.
Anything else you guys want to touch on? Maybe give people a bit of the insight on?
Help us get our blue check. Keep following us on Instagram.
Oh yeah, keep following us on Instagram. Lee 5 Instagram.
Ason Jones. Blue check season.
Well, that does it for this week's edition of the Edge Insider Podcast. Big thanks to Jarryn Skeete and Dez Lee for joining me this week. We'll be back again with a new edition of the Edge Insider Podcast.
Thanks for listening to the Edge Insider Podcast.